There's a ton of software engineering advice right now online, and almost all of it is missing the same thing. Your GPA doesn't matter, just focus on React and Python. CS degree isn't worth it anymore. The maths in your CS classes is useless. Data structures and algorithms are the only classes that actually matter. Ignore everything else. I want to push back on this, not because it's completely wrong. There is some real truth buried in there, not because it's dangerously incomplete advice. And I think it's quietly setting a lot of students up to sell themselves short. 1. The grain of truth. Let's give this advice its due credit first. Yes, you can graduate with the CS degree without ever touching the harder, more theoretical topics. If you want a generalist role, you generally can get away with taking the easier electives, learning hard into web development, and skipping deep end entirely. But here's the part that gets left out. If you consistently avoid the harder computer science classes in favor of taking the easy part and chasing an immediate paycheck, you miss out. Not immediately, but eventually, and often right when it matters most. Yes, a lot of what this online advice conveniently ignores. Computer science is enormous. Compilers, cybersecurity, robotics, applied sciences. The list of deep specialized topics you could research or build in doesn't have a neat endpoint. It just keeps going. If you write your low-level theoretical programming classes as boring or pointless, you might be skipping foundation that are genuinely hard to pick up later. Not impossible, but much harder. Yes, you can learn plenty on the job. Nobody is disputing that, but here's the problem. Today's job market for new grads is brutally competitive for specialized roles, and you don't get there by just grinding lead code and shipping a few generic SaaS clone in React and Python. Machine learning engineer, robotics engineer, security engineer, front-end specialist, research engineer. I see students applying for these roles after spending exactly 4 years actively avoiding the classes that actually feed into them. Statistics, linear algebra, operating systems. Skipping your operating systems classes might make this semester easier. This won't help you when you are trying to land a low-level hardware role at a company like Apple, where that exact foundation is the baseline expectation, not a bonus. What I actually watched happen during my undergrad, I watched this play out real time among my classmates, ones who took the harder part, advanced algorithms, advanced operating systems, and actually put in the effort to understand the material, not just survive it. End up landing more specialized role at big tech companies and beyond, and it wasn't even close to a fair fight even in interviews. They're working with a genuinely unique skill set that they just learn React, grind lead codes crowd simply didn't have. Could you still apply for a generalist role and get lucky, landing something impressive without any of that depth? Sure, everyone's path and situation is different, and I'm not claiming there's only one route in. And what I'm saying is that there's a real measurable benefit. Pursuing the harder foundation specialization is ever something you want available to you. Not about locking yourself into one narrow track. It's about building enough rate that you get to choose what you work on instead of settling for whatever is left over. 4. Who this advice isn't for. I do want to be fair here. If you are already late stage in your career, if you genuinely hate programming and just here for the outcome, if you are in a specific financial situation that demands the fastest possible path to income, this advice isn't really aimed to you, and that's completely okay. Different situation calls for different strategies, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But if you are currently a student still in school, with room you actually choose what you learn. Go for breadth, the depth, and a paycheck will follow. Take the harder theory class you are tempted to swap out. Sit with the mass instead of outsourcing it. You might genuinely discover an entire category of problems you are passionately about, ones you never had found if you optimized only for the easiest possible semester. And even if you don't fall in love with the specific subjects, you walk away with a problem-solving instinct that stick with you with the rest of your career, long after the framework you learned last spring get replaced by whatever trending next. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.